Well, good morning, gang. It is Thursday morning. It is a beautiful Thursday morning. As beautiful as I can tell through these blackout curtains. So, for I know a lot of you have been, waiting on bated breath. Kevin, where have you been? Kevin, I haven't seen you. I thought you were releasing a piece of content every day. So, yeah, kind of got a busy day. Getting ready for the holidays. Thanksgiving's coming up. We're going to be traveling. And so we're just, it is what it is. I'm working really hard at doing it. If everyone completed all their goals, you know what I mean? So I'm still doing all my workouts every day, staying healthy so that I can be here for a very long time, spitting my opining. So I can opine in your face for a very long time. Like a clown. Opine? No. Playing words? Pie? No? Okay. Anyways. But what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start doing these. I do know that some of you like these long form podcasts. The interwebs likes the short clips. And so I'm going to start doing our podcast where I can rip it apart and reclip it and then republish it and have little shorts for people out of the thing, which is, I know what all the big podcasters do. And guess what? We're growing, people. We are growing. We're going to put Olean on the map because we are Olean's only news channel. So channel in today, guys. So for I've been delaying on this one because I just think it's a stupid topic, and here you're gonna find out why. But this is I think this is my first video on the Epstein Files. And now you're like, oh my God, the Epstein Files, when will it end? Right, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think it is stupid. I think it is overdrawn. They're just, the Epstein Files, they're just a talking point. It's like construction on the White House. It's just something that we have to, drone on and on and on about. So, and now here's me just giving my take, and it's more of a take to get rid of my frustration, to vent on why I think it's stupid, and then hopefully it'll all go away, which won't happen. It'll just keep going on, and I may have another video on it, but this is just a reprieve for me to be able to kind of just get it off my chest so I can be like, all right, it's done. I've talked about it. That's the only reason everybody else is talking about it, because the world hasn't heard Kevin Doherty's take, and I know that 90% of the world is just non-player characters. Their algorithm hasn't started yet because they're waiting for Kevin, right? That's so yeah, the Epstein Files. So you've got a grub like Jeffrey Epstein, who is very similar to Steve Bannon, except for all the sex trafficking stuff. He's more similar to Diddy in the sex trafficking aspect, but he's similar to Steve Bannon in the fact that he claws his way up and tries to get his claws into powerful people, and then he moves to the next most powerful person and just kind of discards them. Hey, I want to be your friend. I want to be your buddy. Oh, let me get in your circle. Blah blah blah. And then it's as soon as he's ready to pull the ripcord, he oh, here's all the nasty things I found on this guy, and it's everybody's got a little nasty, right? But he just takes that 10%, makes it feel like it's 50% or more, and then he bolts, and then he moves up for a higher position. And the first Trump administration discovered that, and they kicked his ass out, and now he just goes on left-wing talking channels to talk about, he likes, to be the guy uncovering all the bad stuff. And it's there's no bad stuff, man. You're just blowing it out of proportion. You don't know what you're talking about. You're probably orchestrating some of it. Hey, buddy, look at all these drugs I found. You want to do them? Oh, look, he's doing cocaine. It's well, yeah, but you presented it. You're causing entrapment. You're doing stuff oh, look at that. He's got a hooker in his trunk. It's the great Norm Macdonald joke, right? Look at all the hookers in the trunks. It's well, yeah, but you put the hookers there. And then you made it look like they had the hookers in the trunk, and you're the nefarious character. So that is where, Jeffrey Epstein is. He was a financier. That's what they call him. And he's going around and getting his claws into people that are rich and famous. And then, hey, some of them are, down for cheating on their spouses, and some of them aren't. And, he tried to get his claws into Donald Trump back in the day, and Donald was listen, man, I don't like the way that you're holding yourself, and get the hell out. And it's and And now everybody's like, oh, he's a known pedophile. It's like, no, just because you hate Donald Trump does not make every bad thing in the world like hang around his neck. There's people that love Donald Trump, and every good thing, like, oh man, you remember sliced bread? Remember how Donald Trump brought us sliced? No, it's like, no, he didn't invent sliced bread either. Like, people need to get off their stupid like mental disabilities. Like, people have these things where they get stuck in this confirmation bias or whatever, and it cripples them. It mentally disables them. So they're like, they're either on the far right, like, I super love Trump, or I super hate Trump. And it's like, and I just see that more of the Trump derangement people in the news, the people that love Trump are just at home being quiet and just, praying to an idol of Trump, and then they've got, the press briefings in the background, and which is fine. I mean, hey, you go pray at whatever altar you want, but it's at the same time like they're not harming anybody with their love of Trump. But the people that hate Trump are like, they just hate him so much they're just making shit up. Like, and they're like, oh well, he's a bad guy, so he must be molesting kids, and well, that's probably why Epstein Files. So he's probably in them, and it's like, I kind of agree with Mike Johnson on this one. He he probably doesn't molest kids. Why? If he's in all these files, and it's like, if he's in all these files, then why didn't the Biden administration release it? Or is it because Hunter is mentioned more in them? You know what I mean? Or Joe is mentioned more in them, or Hillary, or one of his others, teammates. And so to me, it's like, man, it's just stupid. It's stupid nonsense. But if it's so dumb. And then the stuff they had been presenting up until they got Congress to release it was like, oh, he mentioned, do we have any dirt on Trump? It's like, yes, that's exactly what I just described. He's trying to find dirt on people so he can elevate himself by putting other famous people down. And then he looks like some hero, burning a bridge to move to a larger bridge, right? Like, be like, we're going to burn this old bridge because I got a new bridge. And it's like, guy runs on faith of new bridges. That's really what it comes down to. And it's ridiculous. So, and then they're like, well, but Epstein's emails say that Trump is a bad guy. As far as Epstein can tell, he's a far worse guy than Epstein ever was. Well, okay. Hitler used to say the same thing about Winston Churchill, to the point that, I don't know if you've ever read The Eagle Has Landed. It was a book written by, it wasn't Jack Higgins. I've got it on my shelf. Give me a second. Yeah. No, it was Jack Higgins. Jack Higgins. Oh, yeah, that's right, because Jack London was called a while. Yep. So it was Jack Higgins wrote this, and he went to a town in England, in northern England, where, Churchill was supposed to be. And there was German soldiers that came there, and they were pretending to be American soldiers, and it was all a coup to assassinate Churchill. And they ended up like helping save the town and do a bunch of things. And the Germans lost some guys saving kids of the town when they took over the town. It was like a true story. It was based on a true story, right? So like he took as many stories that he could tell about what actually happened and tried to recreate it. And like the townspeople buried these people on site. They didn't like let the government come in and take all the corpses and, send them back to their country or whatnot. They buried them on site because they were kind of like little heroes in their town. So it's one of those like, all right, well, and they built this emotional connection to these German soldiers, even though they were taking them hostage. But prior to them taking hostage, because at their core, they were like good human beings. Like one of them risked his life and died to save a child, right? Like that's, anyways, we're getting off topic because Hitler viewed Churchill like such a threat. He's a far worse guy than I am. That's what the devil says to an angel, right? Like, hey, demons, listen here. Like, them angels, they're causing a lot of problems for us, and that is a far evil from our perspective. And so, like, yeah, so, like, if you're going to say, like, Epstein doesn't like Trump, it's like, well, it's because because the villain... the villain is to Epstein as Trump is to Churchill. That's actually like he was a decent figure who was like, no, we don't grab him by the pussy. Like, I mean, I know Trump said that, which if you've ever hang out with a group of guys, like sometimes they say things that are not acceptable in front of women, and it's all in jest. Like, if somebody makes a rapey comment, it's not usually because they're just a group of rapists. It's like there's a dark vein of comedy and humor that runs amongst men. Like, that's what it is. I'm not going to give any more examples just because I know that it'll take me down another rabbit hole, and it just looks like, you know what I mean? Like, you just go into a group of guys and just like say something, and you'll see like, oh well, all right, this person's pretty cool. Like, hey, you know, blah blah blah. X disgusting joke. X, you know, horrific joke. X, like, wow. If you said that in public, you might be arrested. And it wasn't like a threat to human life or anything. It was just so morally obtrusive on every level. And guys are like dogs. I always imagine a friend of mine's boxer, right? And it's a little bouncy, hyper spring of a dog, and it's always pushing the envelopes. Like, can I go here? Can I go here? No, like, no, you can't go there. How about right here? How about right next to the line? How about just right next to it? No, don't go near it. Like, that's guys. And then every so often they step over the line and they get their nose smacked. And even amongst ourselves, like with our terrible veins of comedy, right? Like, but anyways, so that said, there's the relationship part. And then I had one more talking point on this. You go to a court and you're in a public session, right? And you're like, hey, like, I was sex trafficked by this person, right? And usually the court has, like, they have the oath to dole out justice, right? That's the goal of the court, is to dole out justice. But then there's this thing that nobody ever talks about, which is very important and part of their other underlying principles, which is to, like, to a degree, protect, right? To protect the public. So some of that is like where you get witness protection. You get, like, victims' rights. That's why they redact stuff. And it is so important that, like, when members of the court, like, if you're one of your, like, paralegals, if you're, like, a court judge or a court clerk and one of your paralegals, you know, like, leaks confidential redacted information about, like, you know, maybe a person who was raped in a crime, and it was supposed to be redacted, and there's all these agreements, and it's like, hey, listen, this victim does not want it released. You have no right to release this stuff. If it gets slipped out, like, there's jail time that can happen. They will sue you into, like, that person can sue you into oblivion, so that every dollar you make for the rest of your life, like, it supersedes, like, if somebody owes me rent money, right? And then I take them to court and I get a judgment. Now they're not my tenant anymore because they've been evicted because they didn't pay their rent. And, like, I can garnish their wages up to a certain percent because they still have to survive. With these cases, they don't have to. Like, I can take every dollar you make for the rest of your life. And then if you just stop working, like, oh, I'm going to refuse to work, then they put you in jail. Like, it is so, like, they remove all rights that you have for a breach of this, which shows you how important it is in our system to not release redacted information. And so, like, the person who's responsible for releasing redacted information is supposed to be pretty much obliterated in the eyes of us as a society. And so that's what always grinds my gears a little bit, because then I'm watching Congress do that. So, like, they're like, well, all the victims were protesting. It's like, no, every single victim was protesting. Every single one. Every single one. No, you probably found 2 or 3, and, like, the loose network of Jeffrey Epstein, like Diddy, right? Like, oh, this person talked to Diddy. Like, oh, Ashton Kutcher was friends with Diddy. It's like, okay, they were friends, but did he go to the sex parties? Or did he go to the party and then, like, everybody kind of left, and all the people that were down for sex party stuff were like, hey, man, and then, like, all of a sudden you're like, well, he was at the party. It's like, before. It's like a Matt Ariza thing. Is it Matt Ariza? Yeah, the punt god from football. Like, I got raped by this guy, and he was a punt god. And it's like, he left the party like an hour before, like you were coming in as he was going out. Like, yeah, you were at the party at the same time. Okay, make that draw. And then he was exonerated. Like, that's how it all works. Anyways, the victim's protection, like, is, like, one of the utmost. Like, there's justice, and then just directly below it. And, like, so if you prevent justice, we obliterate you too. So it's like, well, you know what I mean? Like, it's very important in our society. So you get, like, 3. So the web is so loose. that it's scanty at best that you've got. It's scanty at best that, like, you could even say that, like, I was in the room, like, and nobody can really refute it because there's not that much evidence. Like, oh, he's got journals. Like, oh, he journaled everything. He journaled every single thing. He journaled every person at the party. He, like, reached in their pockets and pulled out their IDs and wrote them down. Like, oh, what's your social? Like a cop doing an investigation, like, every day. Man, that guy got, like, no sex trafficking done because that would take eons just to amass that amount of information. So, anyways, so they grabbed a bunch of people that claimed that they were there, and then they're like, look at the victims on the White House lawn. They want the Epstein Files released. And it's just another dumb talking point because, like, okay, now you're releasing stuff that probably just talks about how Donald Trump is, you know, like, going to stop his organization or he doesn't like him, and we got to find something to get back at him because he wouldn't play ball with us. And that's how vindictive, nihilistic people are, right? Like, hey, you slighted me by not allowing me to make my power play and destroy him. Like, I'm going to get him back. Like, that's selfish child behavior. And that's very much, well, most criminals are childish people. But you take that and then you release, well, then, like, all of a sudden you've got the Congress. So it's like Congress is not exempt from like being sued, right? Like, there's errors and omissions insurance for a lot of this stuff. So if Congress needs this to, you know, like, oh, we got to get this out. Like, we don't care that the judges are redacting information. Like, we want everything released in its entirety. Like, okay. And when one of those victims says, I did not want my name redacted, like, Congress can't overwrite that law, that rule, that code of, you know. So all of a sudden now you have every congressman who voted for that now can be sued into oblivion. Everything they own belongs to whatever victim sued first, or class action, that whole group. That's it. Like, you just lost. Like, you're the dumbest people I've ever met. Like, it's just, it's so dumb. Like, it's like, what is wrong with people? Like, we have this rule, and you can't break this rule, no matter what. What does no matter what mean? What does no matter what mean? Like, that's what drives me nuts. Is people like, no matter what. Like, oh, I swear you on life of my kid. And it's like, and then you break your promise, and it's like, you know, where's my new kid? You know, like, oh, my mother's grave. Like, got myself a new tombstone. A place to park my porta-john. Like, that, you know, I mean, like, people just, that's part of the accountability thing. And I think I can't wait till somebody takes one of these idiots to task and be like, oh, they released the Epstein Files. Like, boom, every one of those congressmen, like, just, oh, I've got this vineyard, $7 million thing. I just had to turn the keys over. Every dollar of my salary from Congress from this point till eternity, when I'm turned Nancy Pelosi's age at fucking 750,000 years old, and she's ready to retire, like, every dollar she's ever made and every dollar moving forward is just, it's done. You just lost it to these people that you just violated, like, one of the highest codes of our society was don't unredact, like, raped people's names and information. How they got there. Oh, we didn't release their name. We just gave their social security number, where they live, exactly what they said, who their siblings are. Like, pretty sure we could figure it out. Like, oh, I play these games. I don't know. It's just, that's the part that pisses me off the most about this. And it's because everybody out there is like a stupid Area 51ist. Like, oh, the government's lying to us. They must have killed JFK. The government's lying to us. They must have caused 9/11. Oh, they must have not landed on the moon. Like, that's fine. You can believe whatever you want about those different conspiracy theories, but you don't, like, upend society over trying to prove a conspiracy theory, because conspiracy theories don't prove themselves. They just prove themselves more plausible, or because you can, there's an implausibility factor to, well, it's because this, or, you know, I'm trying to remember the JFK one. Like, somebody goes, well, you know, JFK was assassinated by the government because, and then they give you a thing, and you're like, yeah, but couldn't it be this? And it's like, ooh, I didn't realize you were in on it too. Like, how much are they paying you? It's like, you can always just refute somebody by just saying that they're in on it, right? Like, that's, so anyways, that's my 20-minute rant on the Epstein Files, which I did not want to do, but here you go. So, it'll be nice. Congress will be refreshed because every single one of them will quit their jobs, and then, so they don't have to give all that money away to the victims. The victims who did not say please unredact it, because the ones who didn't give permission are the ones who are gonna, and then they're gonna be like, I'm gonna quit my job as a congressman so I don't have to pay you for the rest of my life and give you the rest of my assets, and then they're gonna go to jail and all their assets are gonna get confiscated. So, like, whatever, guys, idiots. So, you know what? And all this talk about Churchill has made me think about Thanksgiving's coming up, and I'm gonna smoke a nice big Churchill cigar. And I just got them in too. I just got some. I got some Mayflower cigars by Michael Knowles. Shout out here. So when we reclip this, it'll be so nice. Mayflower cigars got delivered for Thanksgiving. Gonna sit around with some family and smoke them. I'm still not drinking, so I'm still. And I say still, like I'm not drinking anymore. So there is that. But I can enjoy a cigar on Thanksgiving. I can enjoy a cigar on New Year's and on Christmas. I can enjoy my 3 to 5 cigars a year that I smoke. The beer drinking cigars, I'm going to miss those a little bit because, you don't have that compliment. But, hey, the good with the bad. Because I need to stay here as long as I can and keep throwing opines in your face. Deuces, gang. We'll see you tomorrow on Life22.